And here we have one more live-action Prime. That is, this is not the knockoff in Nemesis colors of Evasion Mode Prime. This is actually Takara's Legendary Nemesis Prime, which is it's kind of Evasion Mode Prime, but kind of not. It actually does things differently in a few key areas. I'm not entirely sure why it's not got all 4 wheels on the ground. 6 wheels, sorry. But yeah, this is Legendary Nemesis Prime, not the not like it's not Evasion Mode Prime. It's derived from Evasion Mode Prime, but it is not Evasion Mode Prime. And funny thing is, I don't think I've ever handled the actual Evasion Prime mold ever. Closest I've got is like I forget the actual name of it, but it was like the Wei Chang oversized knockoff that did some other engineering things. And I think it's kind of interesting that this figure actually seems to take some cues from the Wei Chang design, where it's just a little bit different in how it does the engineering. It's actually like the engineering is very similar to the Wei Chang. But it looks very much like Evasion Mode Prime. It's the box cab thing. There's the teal stripe now going along the center, and I think it's kind of cool how this stripe turns into the flames. I feel like that has to be an intentional way to homage both the G1 design and the Age of Extinction design, or not Age of Extinction, the live action movie design, because flames. But you also get that teal around the windows, which are also a nice, very dark blood red. There's plenty of chrome on this thing for the bumper, for the gas cans, for the stuff going on in the back here. And you also get some silver for the wheels, silver for the side windows for some reason, and lots and lots of black. And the other side also looks very truckish. I'm kind of like, it's cool to me how this manages to hide a lot of the robot stuff. Yes, you've got the feet chilling out on the back, but I feel like those don't look too much like robot feet. Yeah, it's Evasion Mode Prime's cab, but fancier and in Nemesis colors. Now, as far as size goes, the Legendary Prime is actually a bit bigger than I was expecting. It's definitely bigger than the official. This is official. It's bigger than the original Evasion Mode Prime mold, but I don't have that to show. But here he is with Dinobot and Nova Prime and Samus. You can probably get a better feel for how big this is when we bring in Burnouts. Because yeah, that's a significant jump in size compared to a deluxe. But Evasion Mode Prime was a Voyager, so let's bring in a Voyager. You can see even compared to a Voyager, this is still noticeably bigger. I'd say this is probably, in general terms, maybe leader-ish size-ish. So yeah, that's that. And finally, here he is with the duck tank. Okay, and before we turn this into a very gangly, but not in a bad way, Optimus Prime in Nemesis colors, if you like this video or any other video that I've done and you want to support the channel or support what has become NemeSeptember, I do have a Ko-fi and a Patreon. Links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, you could always do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, or subscribe. Now, to transform this guy, first thing I'm going to do is fold in these little side mirrors and to fold down the smokestack, because I just don't want to forget to do this all later. Okay, so we're going to untab these canisters down here. And this piece has already been separated, but it actually tabs into the insides of what will become the knees. We're going to split the legs, get this out of here. And this is not... There we go. Okay. So this will just sit off to the side for now. Now I should be able to bring these down a little bit, because I want to try and get a finger under here to bring these pieces out. They don't want to move because of this gray piece. Okay, so instead I'm going to try to get this gray piece. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry this is such a mess already, but with this out of the way, Now I'm going to raise these flaps up, and they kind of have to shimmy past this gray piece because there are tabs in there. So you kind of shift those around and tuck that in. Bring this up, shift it around. Come on, bring it up, shift it around, and bring it in. I'm going to fold these pieces out along the back, then take these pieces and bring them up. These will become the arms, because if you know the evasion mode mold, then you know kind of how this is going to go, with some slight changes. So with all that done, these little pieces back here can now flip out, and these entire side sections will kind of pull out a bit. I want to get them away from this piece. Okay, I guess what I'm going to have to do is push. What I'm doing is pushing against the head here to push this piece out, because I've got to bring this up so that we can rotate all this stuff. Okay, so going to take this gray flap, bring this up, rotate this down so it sits like that. That will give us the clearance we need. I'm going to bring these back down a little bit to rotate all of this around. And again, you kind of want to watch these tabs here, just kind of get them. Well, you can rotate the arms at least. So rotate this around. Going to get this unhooked from the side flaps here. There we go. Now this can come down. That should give us a little bit more space to work with. Bring these up, and we'll keep this like this. We're going to bring these sections down, and as we do that, kind of want to take this flap and rotate it out. And it is a little tricky to do, like I never quite got the hang of this mold, even when I had the Wei Zhang version, or not this mold, this transformation. Even when I had the Wei Zhang version, it just it always seemed a little bit awkward to me to get this portion of it done. But bring this out, this now flips around. This can swing down, and then this flap here comes down to become a shoulder pad. And there we've got one arm done. This piece here folds in, and then around here, I'm going to do the same thing. This can straighten out and come down. This can rotate up and around, and then bring this down, fold that in, fold this down. Okay, now going to bring down the obvious legs. And we'll shore up the torso first, because this is already looking kind of messy. So, I want to take this whole thing that was situated like this. We're going to rotate this around 180 degrees, and it will naturally stop. There are little tabs up here that naturally make this stop. So do that. Bring this piece down. And we don't want to close these up just yet, because we actually want to take this piece, bring this up, and this piece in the center here folds around to give you smokestacks. Then bring this up and around the head, and this will kind of settle right around here. Then these come in, and they're little tabs and slots that this kind of plugs into. It's not super duper secure, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to hold in place briefly so that these flaps can fold in, and there are these little slots here that go over these little gray tabs on the side here. And that is what really locks the chest together, because now these flaps can't really come down. So that completes the chest, and by extension the head and all that. Just get those arms up and out of the way. Now the legs, there's definitely some new stuff going on in these legs if you're familiar with the evasion mode mold. You do still do the foot transformation. You want to kind of grab the foot and the shin kind of rotate independently but at the same time. So they kind of rotate like this, and the shin rotates the rest of the way around, and now you've got that done. But now there's more. You want to take the gas canister, and actually we'll leave it like this for now. We want to take the wheel and untab it and then rotate it back, and we'll just leave it here for now. We want to take this piece, this little tab piece here, untab it, rotate it back, it's on a ball joint, and then take this wheel well, untab it, and rotate it around, and that will sit down here. Now we can basically rotate gas can down, and the wheel comes up, and there is a little slot right here that the wheel will tab into. So bring that up and tab that into place. And that is one leg, just a little bit more involved than the usual evasion mode design. So again, gonna bring the foot and the shin out, rotate them both, put that shin into place, untab the wheel, bring it up, and there is actually enough clearance. I was wrong the first time, but there is enough clearance for this to come up and tab in. I like how the gas can actually has a little bit of a curve in it so that you do have clearance for that wheel. Anyway, with that done, untab this and bring it out, untab the wheel well and rotate it around and into place, and then rotate that gas can down. And you can also flare out the knee pads, and that's it. There we have Legendary Nemesis Prime in robot mode, and it's Evasion Prime in Nemesis colors, but it looks pretty darn cool. It looks pretty darn cool. I like the color scheme on this guy. Oh, actually, forgot about this thing. We do have something to do with this. We can take the these little inner flaps here. These come out. They are very, very tricky to move, but bring those out. Come on. Come on. There we go. Put those out. Hold this together, and they will come together to make like a tube. Then this folds around this way, and this accordions into here. And this flap folds down. And that gives you his weapon. And this, there is a way for it to store back. Oh, that's right. It can tab in here if you want to store it as like basically the same thing. It was, the mess it was coming off the bottom of the truck. Also, I forgot that there is one more thing we do. These little flaps back here, you want to untab them and rotate them up. Untab and rotate up, because that's super important. It's not, but I'm sure somebody would be mad if I forgot to do them. So yeah, there we've got all that transformed. This was kind of a messy one. I'm sorry, but there we go. And again, it's a very I like the evasion mode design, especially now that I'm a little bit less grumpy about the live action movie designs on the whole. I definitely still think that the Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts designs are better than what we got in Age of Extinction and The Last Night and all that stuff. But even though I think those are better, I can still appreciate these designs for what they are. Like, it's easier for me now to look back at them and be like, you know what? They're okay. They're not fantastic. They're not my favorite designs, but they're okay. And I completely understand that there are going to be some people who really, really dig these designs, either because it just appeals to them because we all have different aesthetic sensibilities, or because these are their Transformers movies. These are the movies they grew up with. So I get that. But anyway, yeah, this is again a pretty clean design. A little bit hollow in the back here, but like this big chunk does help to fill it in a lot. And this is like the bottom of the truck mode, so I appreciate the use to kind of fill that in. I also like how you've got these flaps that both fill in the top of the truck mode and do a good job of like kind of filling out the gauntlets a bit. They hide the junk back here just a little bit, and it also frees up the fists for rotation that they do have, which we'll talk about later. The deco on this is fantastic. I love the black plastic with the metallic blue that they've got in a few places, but I also like that they have slightly different shades of metallic blue in some places, where it's much darker on the shins and forearms and much lighter in the hips, chest, and shoulders and head. I just think that's neat. I don't know if that's intentional, but I think it's neat. The layered wheels going up the legs is, that's cool. The slight color change, I kind of feel like black fists would have been nice, but at the same time, I think the gray fists do help to break up the color a bit, so I'm not mad about it. And you also get this nice chrome midsection, which was not there. This was on the inside of the truck mode, so I like that. He doesn't have a matrix chamber, thank goodness. I do not care for those. But then you also have like the layered truck windows. Like, this is faux parts. I also don't care. Painted nicely. That teal with the red. The red looks really good for the robot mode chest, better than it does for the vehicle mode, because you've got this chromy silver behind it. Actually, it is chrome, because as we saw with this parts, it is chrome. So that chrome behind the red really makes it pop. And I like that a lot. I kind of wish they did the same thing for the truck mode windows, but alas, they did not. It does do that thing that the evasion mode figure does, where the elbows look a little bit weird when you straighten them out. I don't think it looks too terrible here. Like, I think it's okay from this angle, and the angle where it would look the worst. Now you've got this flap kind of covering things up. So it doesn't really bother me that much. And also, I generally like to have the elbows bent slightly anyway. But yeah, it's I guess it kind of comes down to the fact that like black is really good at hiding figure imperfections like that. Kind of like how you've got other molds, other uses of the mold that may have like, when you've got red and blue, some things may not quite look right in one mode or the other. But like here, since everything is black, it just works. So yeah. Very cool, nicely sculpted, nicely detailed, nicely painted. Even like silver in the biceps and stuff looks really good. Lots of really cool mechanical detail and stuff that is, in a lot of cases, picked out. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I don't get these. I mean, you can just leave them tabbed in if you want. I'm sure this is like an accuracy thing, but it also is just kind of like a why thing. Because they're really easy to bump out of place. I don't really know why they're on ball joints. Whatever. But anyway, I've gone on about all that long enough, so let's start rambling about the head. And the head is, this movie Optimus Prime. Nuts. No. I was afraid this would happen. The thing on my tripod that I did fix stopped working again, so I'm going to have to find a way to fix that again. But anyway, the head is, early trilogy Prime. It's a little bit narrow. It's fine. It works for Nemesis Prime better than regular Prime, but I feel like most Optimus Prime heads do that. It's weirdly wanting to spring back into place like that when I turn it that way. It's whatever, but yeah, silver face, red eyes, teal on the little strips going to the side. All looks good. Silver on the little earpieces. I like that the teal goes all the way back too. So it's pretty decent looking head. It also, I believe, it does the thing, just like a lot of the other Primes, where you can flip it up, rotate it around, and close it back up, and give him his unmasked face. I appreciate the option, but I am forever of the mindset that it is not necessary to do unmasked face for Nemesis Prime. Also, I'm just noticing this now. It looks like his right eye may be slightly off-centered. I could be wrong, but that looks a little bit off. So we're just going to switch that back around. I don't know. I feel like of the two face sculpt options, this is the superior one. So that's what I'm going to stick with. Now, when it comes to articulation, the head is on a multi-jointed system where it's on a ball joint that doesn't really give you any side to side. Like, it can tilt, but it doesn't stay there really. Can look up and down a bit, and it can look left and right. But there's a secondary hinge down in the torso that allows it to move forward. And if you move that forward in conjunction with moving the head up, you actually get way more range and rotation. So you can bring the head way forward, which looks kind of awkward, or you can tilt it forward slightly. You can kind of shift things around. You got options. It doesn't look terrible as long as you're sparing with it, but if you move it all the way forward, it starts to look a little bit eh. But it gets the job done. The arms rotate a full 360. They can, essentially what's happening here is this stuff is kind of getting in the way. If you bring this out, this is separate from the arm, so the arm can go all the way around regardless of the shoulder pad. The shoulder pad can go around as well, but it does kind of knock into this joint back here. But you can kind of scrape past it if you really want to, and this is slightly flexible plastic, so I feel like you could probably do that without worrying too much about breaking it. And as you can see, this moves up and down. You get a bicep rotation just above the elbow. The elbow, as I mentioned before, does look a little bit strange when you straighten it out, but that's fine. And it bends to well past 90, so I mean, that's for the transformation. This actually is how everything is supposed to line up in truck modes, so that's kind of cool that the transformation affords it that much bend. And the fists, as you saw, do rotate. You go all the way around, and the fingers also open and close, which is nice. Now, bring those arms back. These little hip wheels can get out of the way a bit, and the waist can rotate all the way around. The motion on the legs is a bit strange because they can go out about that far, but if you untab this, get that wheel out of the way a little bit more, they can come out a decent amount further, where so that's with the wheel tabbed in, this is with the wheel not tabbed in. So you get more range going out, but this wheel does get in the way. You also get thigh rotation, which it kind of wants to stop here. The whole reason being is the wheel is, again, kind of clashing into stuff back here. If you untab the wheel and bring it down a bit, you get a lot more thigh rotation. So that wheel, while it looks better tabbed up there, that is a very stiff joint. While it does look better tabbed up there, it also does impede the articulation a bit. The knee pad can wiggle if you want. The knees can bend. They can straighten out, perhaps a little too much, and they can bend slightly under 90, though I wonder if you get... No, that doesn't really make a difference. This flap does not really seem to make a difference in terms of where the knee bend stops. So you get ever so slightly under 90 degrees of knee bend. If you really want, you can use the shin transformation joint for some forward and backward motion, but you can also get forward and backward motion on the foot itself. Well, backward anyway. For forward, no, you can still get forward, never mind. So yeah, you get forward and backward motion on the foot as well as side to side tilt in both directions. So yeah, pretty posable. I mean, that's, I guess, to be expected of this mold, but yeah. I just think it looks cool more than anything, but also posable. Posability is good. Okay, now for the odd little weapon accessory we looked at before. Real quick, let me just show you what I was talking about because I feel like it's unfair to talk about it and not show you. So if we untab and undo all of this and swing this back around. So this is how it is for vehicle mode. This should, I believe, kind of shift down like this, and then this just tabs into the back here, and that stores the weapon. I could be doing that slightly wrong, but I know that's how this tabs in. But I prefer to just have him hold the things, so we'll just flip all these back out, close this back up, bring this into place, and swing this down, and this will peg into the fist. And there's also, it's hard to see, but there is a little channel on the fist there, and there is a little kind of tab on the post there, so you actually can peg it into the fist and then slide it down into that channel to make sure it doesn't wiggle. I mean, it moves in the sense that the fist rotates, but like it doesn't make the gun wiggle left and right in the hand, which is good. The only thing that kind of bums me out about this weapon really is, well, one, you can see it kind of doesn't stay in place the best, but two, I like what they're going for. I like that they're trying to make it look like it's part of his hand. I think it looks cool at a glance, but it is a little bit about how you do see some fist poking through. I kind of wish that they had done something where like maybe it would peg into the fist up here and kind of sit more like this over the forearm, so it looked a little bit more integrated, but that's not what they did. It's not terrible, it's just I do wish that it was a little bit more in terms of design, a little bit more like visually integrated with the robot mode when it's in use. But it looks cool for what it is. And again, like when you're not really noticing the hand there, it's not bad. It also kind of looks like it's going this way slightly, like it's not quite sitting flush, but whatever. I do like it. Sounds like I'm griping, but I do like it. So there we have that. Now for the remaining size comparisons, let's bring the crew back here. So there is Dinobot. You can see he is way taller than Dinobot, and also much taller than Optimus Prime, and much taller than Burnout. And so, of course, much taller than Samus. This is a shockingly big figure. Like I said, I was not expecting him to be this big. I figured, like, I knew he was a little bit bigger than the evasion mode figure, but like the evasion mode figure is roughly what, this height, I think. Like I said, I never actually handled it, but like this is significantly bigger. This is taller than leader size, basically. Like taller than current leader, definitely. Not complaining, just I was surprised. And okay, get all of you out of here. And we'll bring in Siege Prime, or the Siege mold, rather. The Siege Nemesis Prime, whatever. So, there he is. With that, again, much, much taller. Since we just looked at him, what the heck? Let's bring back MB20. Movie the Best Last Night Nemesis Prime. And these guys are pretty much the same heights. MB20 is a little tiny bit taller. Not by any noticeably significant amount, though. And just because I've still got him on the table, what the heck? Let's bring in our oversized Unique Toys Challenger. He's a lot taller than that. So there is that. And birthday. And finally, here he is with the duck tank. And that does it for Takara Legendary Nemesis Prime. It's a cool mold. It's just, I've got a little bit of fiddliness with the transformation. That could be a me thing. I don't mind it. It's just a thing that I've encountered. But this looks so good. And I think I said this before, and if not, I'm saying it now. I actually think this looks better than the oversized Wei Zhang version. That does look good. It looks really good. But I like how this one handles the shoulder pads. It's a lot simpler, but gets the job done nicely. The way that these and that flap that's now tucked around the back of the figure, the way those all come together to clean up the back of the vehicle mode is, I think, a lot more elegant than what the Wei Zhang figure did. The colors on this are great. I like the really strong blacks that they used for this. And then having that mixture of a darker metallic-y teal in certain parts and then a lighter one helps to mix things up. And the teal plus the red around the windows here also looks fantastic. It's just a really good-looking figure. And this is one that I had been wanting to get for a while, and for reasons never really was able to. I'm glad I finally did. But that's enough about what I think. What do you all think of this figure or the evasion mode mold in any of its many, many iterations, official or otherwise? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we're not done with Nemesis Prime, so look forward to more of that.